Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to a brand new podcast, The Season Keepers, the only podcast where the only people you want to keep for a season is us. My name's Matt Samuel, and I'm Clean Sheet Wipeout.
I'm James Healy at FPL Drug.
And this is our reaction video and podcast for the FPL game opening. How do you feel about that, James?
Excited, really excited. The most excited I've ever been for an FPL team squad release.
Tell me about it. I was buzzing on Twitter for about an hour and a half, 2 hours beforehand, and as soon as a couple of people posted that the game was live, I was straight on there. What ID did you manage to get?
I wasn't really aware of this till last minute, but I managed to get a 1819, I think it is. So a 4-digit one. I'm happy with that. It's better than the 6-7 digit ones I'm used to.
I managed to get my first ever 3-digit at 976, so pretty chuffed.
That's right.
Far better than the 100,000 that I got last year.
Exactly, yeah. Saves you a bit of time when you're using the tools and stuff, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. So for this podcast, we just want to have a proper run through the team, seeing as none of us have actually looked at this yet, have we? Other than doing our auto team. There's some interesting names that have popped up in there. Yeah,
all we've literally done is the auto team. I've started to build a team, which is literally just Alexander-Arnold at the moment, but we'll run through the options team by team, and we'll start at Wolves from the bottom.
Go on then, bottom to the top. Let's have a look.
What have we got? So that's you got Patricio in goal there at 5.5. Obviously, there's a lot of options at 5.5. Not sure if I'll be going for him, as he's not as much of a BAPS bonus, whatever you want to call it, magnet, as the other goalkeeper, as the Wolves defenders.
Especially, I know he got 153 points last season, but 5.5 seems quite pricey for a goalkeeper this time.
Yeah, I think I'd only be tempted by a Wolves keeper at 5 or even 4.5. Well, definitely 4.5, but 5 I think would have been a fairer price.
And I think every 0.5 is certainly going to help, given the price reveals that we've had on Twitter recently, with 3 being at 12 and 2 being at 11.5 so far. So
yeah, very pricey players. Yeah. Obviously, Bruno increased, but he's a good value, I guess, still.
Oh, definitely. Still at what, 10.5?
Yeah, 10.5. 2 mil. He's at that increase, I think.
Definitely. Another Doherty at 6 is quite interesting, isn't he?
Yeah, so I think he was 6 last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's been maintained at 6.
Yeah, he is. Yes, 6. So one to think about. Obviously, he was doing very well on my team towards the end of the season.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he definitely helped me get that strong finish of 4K. I'm gonna mention that. Get that in early. 4K, best ever finish.
We can have a proper run through of our seasons in the next video and podcast anyway, and we'll run through exactly kind of what we're about and what we did last season. Yeah,
we're gonna overanalyze, take a real big look into our team and how we got on.
Definitely let you guys know what we're all about.
So Traore, what are your thoughts?
I think at 6.5 he's very well priced, particularly given Brighton revealed that Lallana is the same price. And I would certainly edge towards Traore, especially given that Wolves don't have Europa. So I can't see as much rotation as they had, given there won't be the Thursday-Sunday issue. And hopefully Traore's shoulder issue.
That's definitely a fair shout. And yeah, with the shoulder issue as well, hopefully that's a sort of brushed away. I think I'm probably going to wait and see on Traore with his minutes. Although you potentially, in the first few game weeks, you could miss out on a couple of hauls. All depends on the fixtures. I think the fixtures will influence my decisions to a certain extent. If you got Wolves, like first few games away at Man United, Liverpool, home against Chelsea, then you're probably going to want to stay away. Granted,
the fixtures are massive.
Yeah.
I think we're expecting them mid next week, aren't we?
Yes. Hopefully sooner rather than later, so we've got more time to think about it. Because obviously the new season's less than a month away now.
Exactly. I think the 21st has been banded about as the date for the fixture release, so I'll be keeping a close eye then.
Yeah, What do you make of, so you got Jimenez at 8.5? I think that's a pretty good price, to be honest, for him.
I think Jimenez is a very good price, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
At 8.5. And again, the whole kind of, he doesn't really get rotated anyway, does he? But
no, I wouldn't have been surprised if he went in at 9.5, sort of.
Yeah,
like, because he has delivered consistently, really.
exactly. This kind of makes me inclined to see these other striker options and the likes of Martial and see how they've been priced. Because if he's only 8.5, he's the same as Danny Ings. So
yeah. God, yeah. Did not think about that.
Yeah.
Right. So should we move on to West Ham?
Yeah, let's go to West Ham. The big one for West Ham, I think, straight away was the announcement of Souček being 5 million. I personally think that's an absolute steal.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good value pick. I have seen some people saying like he's 0.5 million too expensive for them. Like they wanted that fifth midfielder to be 4.5, but I think you're asking a bit too much if you want him for 4.5.
You are, and is he really a fifth midfielder? Because some of the options we've got, would people be likely to be starting Souček week in, week out?
You may well be. Like if you're short on money, which you probably will be, he could be your fourth mid, and then you can have a non-starter, cheapo 4.5
exactly
as your fifth mid.
With the amount of midfield options we've got this season, are we looking more to 4-5-1, 3-5-2 week in, week out this year? And maybe a move away from big at the back?
Yeah, I think so. I think we won't see as many 4-3-3s this season. I think the midfield will be a strong feature as it was towards the end of last season.
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely. And again, there's been a lot of rumours. We'll get on to Man United, but there are rumours that both Rashford and Greenwood may be reclassified as midfielders. So if they have, again, that's another.
Yeah, we'll have to see because I've not seen anything so far. Yeah,
no, this is all.
It's kind of going to be a surprise to us as we're going through it.
Definitely.
Antonio, obviously reclassified as a forward.
Yeah,
it's great.
He'll be a good option.
A great price. Yeah, great price at 6.5.
6.5 is a cracking price. So if he starts up top with Ale, then that would be quite a good shout, really, wouldn't it? Especially if you're looking for that cheap second or third striker.
Yeah, I think so. Like the problem is with West Ham, I find them so unpredictable.
Oh, definitely.
You have no idea what kind of season they're going to have. Like, obviously, recently they've not done too well, but I don't know. I just don't. I'm not sure what to expect from West Ham. I don't know if they've got any kind of signings planned. Obviously, you got like Noble's a bit old now. Like you've got like a potential areas they need to strengthen because obviously they did buy a lot of players in recent years, but they've not really been that decent signings. I remember them getting rid of half their signings a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, I think Souček is the biggest one for them. But it'll be interesting to see if the likes of Declan Rice stick around because I know there's a lot of rumours about him at the moment.
So Dean Garner's obviously back from West Brom on loan. He had a good season. He might be a bit of a differential for someone at 5.5. Providing he starts, he could be a good option.
He could be. No, he could be. Weren't you? Didn't you miss out on Antonio's hole last season?
I was hoping you would bring this up. So yeah, I played the week of the 4-goal hill. I paid my free hit, and he was in my team. I sent it over to Matt. He was like, "Yeah, looks pretty good." And then I changed it. I took Antonio out, and then Matt said, "Oh, I love the team, but I'd probably put Antonio in." And I left him out, didn't put him in, and then the first goal went in. I was like, "Oh, okay, fine, whatever." He scored 1, 2. I was pretty annoyed, fuming to be honest. And then third and fourth, I was basically speechless. Fourth, I was like, as everyone else was on FPL Twitter, it was just like, what is going on? So
sorry to bring it up. It's just it made me chuckle. Brings back memories.
Oh dear, right. Let's move on. That's enough of West Ham. Let's go to West Brom.
Go to West Brom. The infamous Hegazi. back in at 4.5 million.
The FPL legend that is
legend.
Hegazi.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the other West Brom centre back. What was his name? The old one, Macaulay, wasn't it?
Yeah, Macaulay.
Yeah, what a hero.
Macaulay and his goals. 4.5 is actually a really good price. Again, it's another one you could put in and have a bit of a bench fodder and play when West Brom have reasonable fixtures.
Yeah, so it was definitely a bench option. I think
we're
going to have to look at these sorts of players for the bench. I have to ask West Brom fans, but I'm not sure about Berg, how much action he had.
No.
I know he's a decent player. I swear he went to the Bundesliga. I don't know if I'm making that up. Could be a different.
I think he wasn't he on loan there?
I'm gonna have a quick Google.
Another interesting option. West Brom only got one.
There we go. Yeah. He was at Leipzig.
Yeah, I had a feeling he was out there. And West Brom at the moment have only got one FPL goalkeeper in Johnston.
Yeah, of course. He was at Man United's academy. He might be a decent second keeper. Want to rotate with the fixtures. That worked quite well for me last season, having the Pope and then a 4.5 and just swapping and changing. Obviously, we might not be able to do that this season due to Pope's price. Might have to find a new Pope, so to speak.
I'm really hoping that Lloris might be priced reasonably well, but we'll see.
As a Saints fan, Charlie Austin is 100% not going in my team.
Absolutely not.
After the things he said about us.
Away from him. Yeah.
I still don't mind him as a player, but he is a bit of a knob sometimes.
Yeah, he can be a good striker, but he's an absolute arsehole.
Yeah. So we'll stay away from him. And West Brom's attack, I think I'll stay away from that.
Yeah, agreed.
I think they need some signings if they're gonna stay in the Premier League.
All right, let's move on to Spurs and a couple of big ones that we're going to look out for here. Oh, so Lloris straight in at 5.5. That's a shame.
Yeah, we were all hoping it'd be 5 mil.
If he was 5 mil, he was nailed, I think, at 5 million. But no, they've priced him at 5.5.
What about Tanganga? Will he be a starter, do you think? Or will his minutes still be managed? He'll be rotated?
I think it's difficult because it's good to see Dyer has now been classified as a defender. And I think he may be nailed under Mourinho.
That could be an option.
Seems to like him as a player. And at 5 million, that's a very good option.
Yeah, you'll get those clean sheets and maybe an occasional assist.
Yeah, and I think he may be the type of player that attracts bonus points if they keep clean sheets.
True, very true. That'd be, I guess, something to watch out for.
Yeah, for sure.
Son, 9 mil.
That's not bad. It's not bad.
It's a fair price, I think,
for
Son. I think even 9.5 would be still a fair price.
Oh yeah, for sure. And if he gets a full season again under his belt, and if they can sort their attack, I think Son could play really well. I mean, he got 169 points last season, and that's not bad at all, is it?
No, exactly.
And there's our old boy, Højbjerg.
If you know anything about FPL, you would not put Højbjerg into your team. Granted, he actually got a few goals last season, but obviously you want to stay away from those defensive players.
I think looking into the future, Højbjerg may be a good option in Sky FF because it's a game that I'm looking to play this season. And I know that there are tiering systems for tackles, for instance. And Højbjerg does win a lot of tackles and retains possession. So it might be one to look out for as a cheap option in Sky, but we can look at that in the future. Yeah,
that's something I'm going to have to look at. I've only dabbled in the Sky game. I've never took it seriously. I'm going to actually watch Planet FPL's podcast / video they did on Sky Fantasy and then get myself up and running with that. I am also playing the Scottish Premier League. I will try and keep it going. It would be difficult with the excitement of the English game coming back. Especially as I forgot to do a transfer last week. I meant to take out a injured Motherwell defender, Donnelly, and the player I was going to put in got an assist that week. So, yeah. And due to the rearrangement of games, I've had blanks, but we'll gloss over that because only about 2 people play that game.
Yeah, no, I think for me it'll be Sky, FPL, and then I'm dabbling in Fan Team this year as well.
Yeah, I'll be doing FPL and I'll give Sky a go, and I will think about the others.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Harry Kane.
10.5 million.
No.
Yeah,
Until I see his form come back consistently, I want to see a solid 4 goals in 3 games, something like that. He's not going in my team.
He will score goals, but it will be the odd goal. That's the thing with Kane at the moment, and especially under this Mourinho formation. I don't think he's scored more than twice in one game, has he?
No. He's so deep, and the only goals he scored really are long range kind of screamers. Really, maybe the odd header occasionally in the box, a pen maybe, but he's not the option he was.
No, we'll have to wait and see with that one.
Yeah, I mean, having said that, he still scored 18 goals last season.
Oh yeah,
which is easily glossed over.
Oh, 100%. He's a brilliant striker. I just don't know if he's the best FPL option at the moment.
Shall we go on to our team, Saints?
Go on then. Let's see how we've been priced.
So McCarthy and Gunn, same price. Obviously, yep. McCarthy is the first choice. So if you're going to go for a Saints keeper for your 4.5, he is the one to pick.
He is. I would, however, be interested to see if we sign a new goalkeeper, because the mistakes that McCarthy made, particularly after post-lockdown, surely has to ring alarm bells for Hasenhüttl.
Yeah.
If we want to improve this season, we can't be having sloppy mistakes like that, and he's prone to them. He's done it season after season.
Yeah, I'm not sure who we'd go for. I'm guessing we'd probably go abroad. Maybe Hasenhüttl would look in the German or even Austrian leagues, the Premier Leagues, the Bundesliga.
Quite possibly, yeah. I mean, controversially, I'd have Fraser Forster back because his form at Celtic's been brilliant. But
I think it would be worth giving him another go, because I think I'm aware that he had some sort of mental health problems that he was working with, his confidence, and obviously he built that back up at Celtic.
He's loved back in Scotland. So
exactly, I think it'd be worth giving him another shot, because I remember his display against Arsenal a couple of seasons ago is outstanding. The amount of saves he did, he kept us in the game.
He's one of the best 0-0s I've ever watched.
Yeah, he's a fantastic shot stopper. I think he's just as with most goalkeepers, about getting those silly errors out of your game.
No, agreed. Standard. Kyle Walker-Peters at 4.5 million.
He's most probably going into my team. I think he's got the potential for assists. I think the game that stands out in my mind is when he's played for Spurs, and I'm pretty sure he got 3 assists in one game.
3 assists, yeah.
So that shows the sort of game he is capable of.
And I think he showed again after lockdown. He was played consistently, and he looked good.
Yeah, I think our defence may be better this season than it has been in recent seasons. Definitely. I think we may be overlooked by some other FPL players. I think they may think we're going to go down. We always seem to get tipped to go down, similar to Brighton, but they hang in there every year. I think maybe our defensive options should be considered.
Yeah, I noticed that the game haven't put Salisu in there yet, but I'd probably expect him to be priced the same as Stevens at 5, maybe.
I think 5, and then if they're pushing their luck, 5.5, but then no one will put him in at 5.5.
No.
I think he should come in at 5.
I mean, he's definitely got promise, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But I'm glad we're making defensive assets.
Okay, so the midfield, you got Prowse at 6.
It's a bit too much for Prowse.
Yeah, he's a good player. Obviously on set pieces, free kicks, corners. Misses a pen. He 6 million. I think. How much was he last season? Was he 5.5?
Yeah, I think he was slightly cheaper.
Yeah, I think he was around 5, maybe 5.5. I'm not sure. Redmond, I'd probably avoid Redmond. I think there's better options than Redmond, even at 6.5.
He's definitely improving as a player, and on his day he can be brilliant, but he just doesn't score enough goals. That's my biggest issue with Redmond is he tries, especially what was it 2 seasons ago when the fans were right on his back. I thought, he's done. He'll want to leave, but he's proven himself. He just for an attacking asset, he just doesn't score enough.
I think he doesn't have enough players that are on the same wavelength as him. I think maybe Djenepo is on the same wavelength as him. I think we need a few more kind of creative players that are on the same level as him.
Yeah, he seems to have a really good partnership with Ings.
Yeah, Armstrong as well at 5.5 is definitely worth considering, especially his form at the back end of last season. He was excellent.
Agreed.
Really strong dribbler. I think he's definitely worth chucking in.
Yeah, and Hasenhüttl seems to have moulded him now into that right spot where he's allowed to cut in. I know he didn't particularly want to play there to start with, did he? And he was in and out of the team, but as soon as he's got hold of that place, he's kept it unless he got injured.
Yeah, I think he'll be at the thoughts of quite a few sort of FPL managers. I think.
Yeah, brilliant player. And Djenepo, I just hope he again stays injury free, because when he plays, he's fire.
Yeah,
so
definitely
excited to see St Mary's.
Good differential shout. So Ings, I think he's still great value. I still think he at 8.5 is still worth putting in your team.
Yeah,
I mean 198 points speaks for itself.
Yeah, and I mean he's going to be fighting to get into that Euro spot, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
If he can maintain consistency this season and again hit another 20 plus goals, he's got to get on that plane.
22 goals speaks for itself. If he was a good penalty taker and he was on penalties, then he would be nailed for every single team.
Yeah, because it was missed one, scored one at the end of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe he'll go on pens, maybe he won't. It may stay with Prowsey.
But for those that think that Ings is a little bit too pricey, Che Adams at 6, that's an interesting price point.
Yeah,
especially if he starts up top consistently with Ings like he did towards the end of last season, and he's got goals in him. I think now that he's kind of ended that hoodoo of not getting his goal for the club with obviously that spectacular against City, then I think 6 million is a cracking price for him.
Yeah, he's got his confidence back, hasn't he?
He does. He looked a different player in the last 4 games of the season. To see him play with a smile was just brilliant.
Yeah. Shall we move on to Sheffield United?
Go on then. Oh, and Lundstrom has straight away been reclassified as a midfielder.
Yep, straight there. And obviously no Henderson obviously in goal. So
I know,
goalkeeping, they're looking very thin.
They are. There are talks, I think, that Henderson will go back to Sheffield United this season, from what I've read, which wouldn't surprise me. I think it'd be good for him.
Obviously priced at 5.5 in Man United's squad in the game currently. 5.5, I think maybe for a Sheffield United goalkeeper, too much.
Yeah, definitely.
I doubt they will replicate the season they just had. I think it may be a bit more difficult this season.
I think it might be. People like the likes of Egan and Basham at 5 options, but Stevens and Baldock at 5.5.
No,
I don't think you'd touch at the moment. Would you?
Not for me. I mean, I enjoyed Baldock last season, but unless they start the season strongly and are getting assists, I'm probably not going to even think about them.
No, I don't think so. And midfield-wise, they look quite short, don't they?
Yeah. Well, there's only 5 players available for selection in midfield.
I know.
I
know they're all
Fleck's always a player I've liked, but I don't think I'm considering any of those options.
No, I don't think I would. As cheap as they are, I don't think I'd go near them at the moment. And again, forward line-wise, I don't think I'd touch. No,
I think you've obviously got McGoldrick there as a budget option, but he's only recently just got his first Premier League goals.
Yeah, for Sheffield United, he's a brilliant player, and he does so much for that team. But he's not an FPL asset. 65 points in a season in which you're starting regularly is just not enough.
No, exactly. I think we can move on to Sheffield United.
I think we can. Yeah, Newcastle
onto the 2.
Yeah,
We have obviously Dubravka priced at 5.
Yeah,
I
we
think he
do.
gets a decent amount of saves, does
I
Dubravka?
think he does. Yeah, I mean, yeah, 143 points last season.
Yeah.
It's not bad at all. I'm quite surprised to see Matt Ritchie hasn't been reclassified as a defender though, because he was playing left back, wasn't he, last season?
He was a defender last season, and they've reclassified him as a midfielder.
Oh right, okay.
So yeah, he's
so,
moved
well,
from defence to
He has
midfield,
moved from defence
which
to midfield.
makes him less attractive.
It does, yeah.
Although he is still pretty cheap at 5 mil, so I guess if you wanted an alternative to Souček, you could go Ritchie, but I'd probably prefer Souček.
You could. I'm very surprised to see Almiron priced more than Saint Maximin.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Wow.
Don't know what they're thinking there.
No, Saint Maximin, I think, will be a brilliant asset for Newcastle.
Yeah.
You can kick on.
That's a strange one, that is.
I think that basically rules Almiron out for most, doesn't it?
No, yeah, I think
you can get Saint Maximin and Ritchie for $1 million or $500,000 cheaper.
Yeah, I think the only Newcastle player I'm really considering out there is Sam Maximin.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if Dwight Gale started every week, it'd be tempting. He's a goal scorer, unlike Joel Linton, obviously.
No, exactly. I mean, he only got 3 goals and 5 assists last season, but I think he's bound to improve on that.
Yeah. If he got more minutes, I think he'd be maybe a good value option.
No, agreed. All right, let's move on to Man United. All right, let's have a look. Yep, so Henderson's obviously in there at 5.5 with De Gea. Scroll. Oh, there we go. Big ones. Greenwood and Rashford.
Rashford's a midfielder.
Midfielders.
It's God, I'm probably gonna have to think about putting Rashford in.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Rashford
quite expensive.
9.5. Yeah, 9.5 million is quite pricey. Obviously, Bruno 10.5. I think that's a steal for Bruno, given his returns in such a short space of time. But Greenwood at 7.5, if he cements a place in that front three, that's a brilliant price.
I think, I'd be more inclined to go with Greenwood than Rashford.
Agreed, yeah.
That extra 2 mil will go a long way.
Particularly some of the prices that we've already seen.
Right, he's going in my draft. So Martial forward 9 mil. I mean, that's a reasonable option.
I think they've underpriced Martial there because they've released that Vardy's 10 mil. So
yeah, you got a whole mil.
To get Martial for $1 million less in a Man United front line, and a Martial that's enjoying playing football is a Martial that you want, surely.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I
think if there are
11 goals and 6 assists, it's not bad.
Exactly.
He'll improve on that.
He was a strong performer in my team towards the end of the season. I got him in at the right time. I think he's one that you can sometimes forget about. And then obviously he scored a hat-trick towards the end of last season.
I definitely regretted not owning him.
Those are the game weeks you want to be on. So he is not one to be overlooked.
No, I think he could potentially have quite a high ownership at that price.
And then obviously now the game, it looks like they've only got 2 forwards, Martial and Ighalo.
It does, yeah.
Ighalo, maybe perhaps if there was any injuries to Martial, Rashford or Greenwood, could be a cheap option. Obviously, it's dependent on injuries. Because I think when he was playing, he was scoring quite a bit.
Yeah, particularly didn't he come on in a few of the cup games and get some goals? Obviously, he didn't get any goals in the Prem. But
in the cup, he was pretty strong.
He was, yeah.
Should we go on to City?
Yeah, let's have a look at City. I'm really interested to see how they've priced Phil Foden. That's the one that I want to look out for.
Oh, okay. 6.5.
6.5. Cheaper than I thought. I think I put on Twitter that I thought he might be about 7.5.
I think 6.5 is a good price, I think.
That's not bad at all, particularly if you're going for a 5-man midfield.
Yeah.
You've got the issue of Pep Roulette and stuff, but you could potentially put Foden in there with De Bruyne, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, look at their defensive options. They've got so many choices here.
Oh, I know.
Ake is worth considering at 5.5, I think.
He is, but I personally don't think he'll be a starter. I think it'll
You
be
don't?
Laporte. No, I think Laporte will be nailed, providing he's fit. But I can see, it rotating between the likes of Garcia and Ake.
Yeah.
Ake's also
I'm worried about.
left-footed, and so is Laporte. So, would you want two left-footed centre backs?
So that's a fair point, actually. Yeah, he may be rotated with Laporte. Maybe Garcia. It might be Laporte is the mainstay, and then you get Ake and Garcia rotating. You get the fullbacks rotating.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Pep rotate him heavily this season until Ake adapts to the way he wants to play.
I guess maybe judge that one by ear. See how it goes.
Garcia at $5 million, I think, is a really good price. He looked good towards the end of the season.
Obviously, we've got the big KDB Sterling debate. You've got the price at the same price. Obviously, De Bruyne's got 47 more points this season.
He does.
And that's
which side are you on?
I'm KDB personally, just for one reason, consistency. I think De Bruyne is the more consistent player. Sterling is the more explosive player. That's not to go without. De Bruyne can quite easily get 2 goals and an assist in a game, no trouble, free bonus. So I think personally, it's an easy decision for me to go with De Bruyne.
Yeah, no, I agreed. And obviously, when Sterling goes off the boil, he seems to go off the boil for quite some time.
Yeah, and you don't know when he's coming back.
Terms of Mahrez at 8.5 is quite a good price, I think.
Yeah, very, very cheap, I'd say, for Mahrez. I guess the games took into account his maybe rotation risk. They know he doesn't play every game.
No, and the big one up top, if Aguero's fit and firing, he's been priced at the same as Harry Kane.
Yeah, 10.5. That is cheap.
That is very cheap for Sergio.
That is very cheap. Yeah, I mean, you only have to look at his stats. So it's the least minutes he's played for a while last season, but he's still got 16 goals, 6 assists.
Still got 16 goals.
Season before, 21 goals. Season before that, 21 goals, 20, 24, 26. He's wild class.
I hadn't appreciated that he played almost 1,000 less minutes this season, and he only got 5 less goals.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
It's an interesting one. That I think 10.5. I think I'm seriously going to have to think about him going into my team.
Agreed. It'll be interesting to see if Jesus has played a little more. Obviously, haven't had that time after lockdown with Aguero's injury. But if Aguero starts at 10.5 and they've got good fixtures, he's a steal. The one thing we have to consider.
How old is Aguero now? Do you know?
Is he early 30s?
It's 32.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still not too old, I think, in terms of strikers. Obviously, a striker's peak is around 27, 28. But I think he's still good for another season or two.
Oh, yeah. Providing he stays fit at 10.5, he's a bargain. The one thing I think we have to consider with City, though, and a lot of people have seen noise on Twitter saying City assets are straight in. If they get to the final of the Champions League, they may miss the first 2 game weeks.
And that is something worth considering. I think you put De Bruyne in regardless of what happens, I think, personally. So he's there. Well, I guess...
See,
you wouldn't want to risk going without him, would you?
I wouldn't want to risk going without him, but I may potentially put in another, someone like Aubameyang, for instance, and depending on fixtures, then rotate with KDB. Or you could even, throw in the likes of Rashford, but save a bit of money.
Yeah.
It might be a good season to leave a little bit of money in the bank, particularly if both United and City have blank game weeks if they both get to the finals of the respective European competitions.
I guess we're just going to have to see how that pans out.
Definitely.
I wouldn't put past anything happening in the Champions League now. Leipzig have done very well. Who knows?
And obviously we're recording today and City play tonight, don't they?
I'm not sure.
I have a feeling they might play this evening.
If they do, I'll probably give it a watch.
Well, yeah, definitely, because this pod might be a little bit out of date if they go out tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's City covered.
Yeah, should we move on to Liverpool?
Liverpool, right. So obviously Alexander-Arnold, first thing you notice, straight in your team.
7.5 million, yeah, steal.
I think you're stupid if you don't put him in your team at that price. I think he's.
However,
I was expecting 8.5.
Yeah, no, I was definitely expecting 8+. But I'm very surprised that Robbo is only 7, because I still think he's a top asset. And I mean, consistency again, like very much the same as Trent. He got 213 points the season before this one, and then 181 last season. And obviously Trent got 210, so didn't even beat Robbo's record. And now he's got a price increase to 7.5.
Yeah, I think Robertson, if you want to save a little bit of money, be a bit different, you could go for Robbo instead.
Could you have both?
Some will have both. I think
quite a few will.
I think I won't personally. I think I will have to plough quite a bit of money into my midfield, especially if I'm thinking about getting Aguero as well. I think I will only be able to afford one. I think I will have Alexander-Arnold as my premium, and then I think the rest will be floating around 4.5, 5 mil.
No, that's an option. I'd definitely look to see if I can construct a team with both of them in there. 391 points between them last season.
I mean that is insane. I guess if you think about Robertson's on 181, he's about 40 points behind Mane, but he's 5 million less.
Yeah,
which is insane when you think about it like that.
Yeah, the only issue I guess is you wouldn't captain. You wouldn't captain him, would you? That's the biggest issue with going with players at that price. You know, Trent, you can gamble on it, but I don't think I'd ever captain Robbo.
No, it'd be a bit of a maverick pick. It'd be like you want to be going for your sort of Aubameyangs and your De Bruyne. Those are the sort of picks you're going to be wanting to captaining next season. Salah, Mane, again, we've got like the Man City debate. You've got Salah versus Mane, same price.
Yeah.
For me, I would go Salah. I don't know about you.
Likewise, I think I'd also go Salah. It's very close, but I think he'll edge it.
Yeah. I mean, Mane is a fantastic player. He could quite easily prove everyone wrong and score two in the first game, 2 in the second game. And then everyone's talking about him. How can I get Mane in? Who shall I take out? Who shall I adjust? So I think write him off at your peril, but I think I would still prefer Salah.
Yeah, I think people are still a little bit sore after the triple captaincy there as well.
Yeah, me particularly. What a waste. God, no, I reckon I could have got top 1K if I nailed my triple captain.
It was a coin toss, wasn't it? Like nobody could have predicted that Mane goes down in the first game and doesn't go the second.
Heartbreak. That's worse than heartbreak. Any girlfriend pain. That's worse. So forwards.
Firmino at 9.5. No, I think that's too much for Bobby.
Yeah, he's a great player, but he's not a great FPL player recently.
No, it's definitely not. You can get Martial for 500,000 cheaper.
Yeah, you'd go Martial all day long.
Yeah, you wouldn't go Bobby. I think the players you probably look at Trent, Robbo, maybe VVD if you're looking to save a bit of money.
Yeah.
But I think you're a bit mad if you go without either Trent or Robbo to start, depending on fixtures.
I think you'd be going for 2 Liverpool. I think one defender and then one mid.
Yeah, for me it'll definitely be probably Trent and Salah.
Yeah, I think I'll be the same, to be honest. Should we move on to the new boys?
Yeah, go for it. Let's have a look at Leeds.
Let's have a look at Leeds. See what there is.
Wow, they're cheap.
Yeah,
Blimey.
It's the first thing that stands out. I think the most expensive players. Is it Hernandez at 6? I think that is.
I think Hernandez at 6 million.
Typical that the most expensive player is the one I actually thought about bringing in.
Yeah, well, he's the one that they announced yesterday, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I was having a chat with a couple of people on Twitter this morning, and Ayling is a name that's come up consistently.
It has. I think is he an attacking fullback?
Yeah, and at 4.5 million, that's a price not to be sniffed at.
Yeah, I think that may be an option to consider.
Particularly, you're looking at the likes of Higazi being the same price, and I'd expect Ayling to be far more of a FPL asset.
I saw as like an alternative to like Hernandez, Klitsch being an option. I saw that.
Yeah, again, another name.
Twitter.
He was on pens towards the end of last season, from what I was told on Twitter. So again, that's something to look at.
Yeah, as like someone that's obviously not a Leeds fan, the one that stood out to me was Hernandez. But yeah, I think Klitsch might be the better option.
Yeah, I guess the only issue with Hernandez for me is the fact that he's aging.
Yeah, I noticed someone saying that. Yeah, but obviously, when you're coming up to the Premier League, you're going to want to perform.
No, of course,
he might relish the opportunity.
He could. Well, I expect Leeds to do really well this season. I don't think they'll push for Europe just yet. They've probably got a deeper, better squad to build, but I don't think they'll struggle.
I think they'll be about sort of 12th, 13th.
Yeah, I think that'd be reasonable for their first season back.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be 18th or anything like that. But
no, not at all. But Patrick Bamford, the only forward option for Leeds, 5.5 million. I don't think Bamford's. I don't think Bamford's an option even at that price.
Not in the Prem, I don't think.
No, for me, he's very much a brilliant Championship striker, but I think he'll struggle in the Prem.
Yeah, cutting it in the Prem is different. Different game. Shall we move on to Leicester?
Yeah, go on then. Let's try and whiz through some of these. Again, Schmeichel is another one of those 5.5 million goalkeepers. There's quite a few of them, isn't there?
Pereira's still 6. If he'd have come down to 5.5, I'd be more tempted. Obviously got Chilwell at 5.5, but he could be off to Chelsea.
Yeah, rumoured to be going to Chelsea, but as a Chelsea fullback at 5.5 million.
Could be an option, like in terms of attacking returns. Obviously, their defence is still a bit dog shit.
If you've got Kepa in goal, then you've always got problems.
Yeah.
I read an interesting stat the other day that Kepa has conceded 8% of Chelsea's all-time Premier League goals.
Oh my God. I knew it was bad.
Says a lot.
It's 70 odd million they paid for him. It's got to be one of the worst signings they've made.
I don't think they'll ever recoup that.
Yeah, no, horrific. So Harvey Barnes, 7 million.
7's quite. I suppose if we're looking at 5-man midfields, you might want to try and squeeze one of these in, but it's just a tricky price point. And again, like Maddison at 7 million, I'd want to see consistency from him at the start of the season before I even gamble on him. Yeah,
I'd want Barnes to be starting every game because he did get benched quite frequently towards the end of the last season. Obviously, we had the amount of games, obviously due to the coronavirus, but that you want a guaranteed starter.
No, agreed. Yeah, and then obviously the one that we know about, Jamie Vardy at 10 million. He's an option.
I think that's still good value.
I still think it is.
You got 210 points there. You got 23 goals.
Yep.
7 assists ain't bad as well.
Nah, the big thing I think to keep an eye out for Leicester is they'll have Europa League this season, won't they?
Yes, they will. And then I imagine they'll play Iheanacho maybe up top on his own, maybe, I don't know. In the Europa League, they might play.
Quite possibly.
They may bring in a striker, or even, I don't know if there's any youth assets at Leicester. You'd have to ask a Leicester fan if they've got anyone coming through the academy. But
yeah, no,
because I think Brendan Rodgers maybe. Yeah, I think he's been a big fan of youth in previous clubs he's been at. Maybe he might bring through some strikers.
Yeah, defensively, obviously, you've got the likes of Justin and Thomas coming through, which they seem relatively reasonable options towards the end of last season.
Yeah, well, priced at 4.5. Look, both of them there. Justin 4.5. That's a budget option to consider.
Exactly. The biggest one, I guess, is Pereira. If he's fit, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Particularly, obviously, if we're looking at the Sky game later, Pereira is, Sky gold from what I've heard.
Although, interestingly, outscored by Johnny Evans, who got sent off near the end of the season.
Yeah, you do have to bear in mind Pereira missed a horde of games, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't he injured from February, maybe?
He was out for some time,
Yeah.
and before that, he was a great asset to have.
No, definitely.
Right, shall we go to Fulham?
Yeah, let's go to the other new boys.
Right, Fulham defence, I would say stay away.
Yep, so do I. Yeah, completely agree.
Midfield,
I think there's going to be a lot of talk, about Kearney, for instance. But again, I don't think you go near Fulham at the moment.
Yeah, I think you need to get a feel for them. I think we see how they do the first few games. Maybe there might be some options in there.
Potentially Mitrovic at 6 million.
Yeah, potentially Mitrovic. But with VAR, I think he could be a risk of getting sent off or booked quite frequently.
Yeah, very good point, because he is he's a feisty bastard.
Yeah, he's a hothead. So I think it's going to be in the back of your mind.
Oh, for sure. I think it's been a few times in the Championship, particularly, where he was given a yellow, and had it been reviewed by VAR, I think he would have been sent off.
Yeah, and if he gets straight red, then he could get, is it 3-match ban for a straight red?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's then you've lost transfers there, and your team's messed up. So maybe should we move on to Everton?
Yeah. Obviously, we know that Richarlison has been reclassified as a forward.
Well, he has indeed. That completely slipped my mind. I automatically presumed he was a midfielder. That makes him just less appealing, personally.
Yeah, you've got Jordan Pickford at 5 million, but I don't think I touch him.
No, I've made the mistake of having Pickford. Certain parts of last season, I had faith. I thought maybe they might keep a few clean sheets. No, they let you down. I think defensive-wise, I think the only thing you're going to be considering is Digne, but at 6 million.
Yeah, potentially.
But I think it could be an option, but there's better premium defensive assets around.
Yeah. I mean, 120 points last season, no goals, 8 assists. And then the season before, 4 goals, 5 assists. At 6 million, I think there are better options.
I would personally try and stretch the extra million and get Robbo.
Yep.
If you're going to go for a decent premium, you might as well go full premium to Robbo.
And then obviously Theo's still there. My dad will inevitably have him in his draft straight away.
Yeah, a staple of your dad's FPL teams is Theo Walcott.
Absolute staple, yeah.
He'll be in there.
Oh, gotcha. We'll have to keep an eye on my dad's team this season, because he makes some interesting transfers. The occasional 12-point hit for no reason.
Yeah, he might have to discuss him in a few of the videos.
I think we'll have to, yeah.
Some interesting decisions, some payoff.
Yeah. Interesting that Richarlison is 1 million more than Calvert-Lewin. And obviously now reclassified as a forward, so points from last season would be reduced on that score there.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't touch either of them.
No, I got burned by Calvert-Lewin bringing him in post-lockdown, and he did nothing.
There was a lot of focus on him on FPL Twitter. Everyone was going on about Calvert-Lewin this, Calvert-Lewin that, and then he went on a horrific run, and then suddenly all that talk dried up.
I think that can be the biggest issue with our Twitter community bubble, because we focus on that and we think, oh God, everybody's got him. And then when you go to the ownership, he's owned by 8% of people.
Yeah. So those of you not on FPL Twitter, I think in certain ways you're missing out, but in certain ways you are benefiting. I think your judgment won't be clouded by all the noise, so to speak. I hate that. It's a bit of a term. I hate that noise, but
Twitter noise. Yeah.
I'll say it anyway. We're saying a few cliches on here, so we might as well carry on.
That's the problem. Like, I love the community. Like, I wouldn't change it now. But the biggest issue is if you do get kind of sided by chat and, threads about particular players and how they're essential. And I know obviously we're called the season keepers, but I think that's a bold term that you rarely have to use. Like, I think there's potentially one maybe 2 players that are season keepers in my eyes.
KDB and Alexander Arnold, I think you could call a season keeper.
Yeah, those 2 exact names are the ones I was going to mention. But other than that, and even, injuries. If people get injured, they're not season keepers. So it's a term that's bounced around so much, but it's not one that I particularly like, which is why I think it's quite amusing that we've named this podcast the Season Keepers.
Yeah,
which is
perfect choice.
Exactly. Right, shall we move on then?
Yeah, let's move on. Crystal Palace.
Let's go to the mighty Crystal Palace. Van Aanholt, still priced there, slightly too high in my eyes.
Yeah, a 5 mil, 5.0, I'll be tempted. But 5.5, too much.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't think I'd touch many of their other assets at the moment.
Yeah, I think until Zaha is consistently in form, I don't think I'll go near him. I think a lot of people try and be clever and put him in as a diff, but I don't think he does anything.
No, he got only 4 goals, 6 assists last season. It's not enough for the talisman of Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
I personally can see them struggling again this season.
Yeah,
Palace fans won't want to hear that, but I think
agreed.
Your front line, you've got a choice. He's good, but he's not prolific. And then obviously Benteke has just gone way off the boil.
Yeah, and they went on a horrific run towards the end of the season.
Yeah, they certainly did. Should we let's jump to Chelsea then? Let's ignore Palace. And much to talk about there.
Got Alonso at 6 mil.
You do. That's an option. If he cements his place under Lamps.
Yeah, he could. He may well get rotated with Emerson.
Yeah.
That's something to watch out.
6 million. It's a reasonable price.
I'd say he's the more reliable asset to have out of the two.
I think he is, yeah. No, and obviously you've got the 2 goalkeepers. I'm really intrigued by how that's going to play out this season, because I think Lamps has definitely lost trust in Kepa, and Caballero's there.
Yeah. I mean, Caballero's. I think he's 39. I think he's knocking on.
He is, but he's a very good second keeper to have.
Yeah. Do you reckon they would sign anyone, or do you reckon they'll refrain from doing so, considering how much they paid for Kepa?
Yeah, 70 million? So there's no way they go in the market for another goalkeeper until he either is gone or he has to turn his form around.
I think they just need to cut their losses and accept that what they've done is a terrible decision and get a new keeper in.
Yeah. Oh, there are definitely better goalkeepers out there. 70 million for Kepa, he's so flaky for a club, that high in the table. Defensively, if they improved, they'd easily make top 4. But you just worry about Chelsea have to score, 3-4 goals sometimes to win a game. And you've got Pulisic is a good price. I've seen that 8.5.
Yeah, obviously.
The worry is
the injury.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Because at 8.5, I think he's a bargain. If he's fully fit and firing, that is an absolute steal in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think he could quite easily be a 10 mil player.
Yeah, I mean, you've just got to look that Liverpool game, for instance. He wasn't fully fit. He came on and almost turned the game for Chelsea.
I've seen a lot of talk about Ziyech. I don't really know much about him, if I'm honest.
No, likewise. No, neither do I.
But at 8 mil, I guess it's something to wait. One of those wait and see.
Yeah, players, if he's as attacking as, say, the likes of Willian was, for instance, then I think he's definitely an option at 8 million.
Oh, yeah, but I'll be looking forward to seeing what Willian's price is actually when we come to Arsenal.
Oh, yeah, Arsenal. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll see that soon. Up front, you've obviously got Tammy and Giroud.
And then you've got Werner.
And obviously Werner, yeah.
9.5 million for Werner.
Now that is one to think about.
For me, personally, he's a wait and see, because I know they've paid the money for him. But when you've got Tammy and Giroud as well, will he start straight away?
I think he will.
Because I've got it in my mind. I just know, obviously, when Pulisic was signed, everybody thought, they've signed a brilliant player. He's going to come straight in. And Lampard took a bit of time to bed him in. I just worry. I don't think I'd have him on my squad to start with, solely because I'd worry that when that first team sheet came out on the first game of the season, he wasn't starting.
Yeah, your heart would sink if you put him in your team. And that
Particularly
first game, he's benched.
Yeah, I think for me, Chelsea, other than Pulisic, but depending on his injury.
Yeah, I'd be thinking about Werner. But yeah, as you said, it could be a wait and see.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So
right, let's move on to the mighty Burnley.
Yeah, so our Lord and Saviour, Nick Pope from last season, has been horrifically raised to 5.5.
I can't see many people jumping in at 5.5 million.
No, I think
it's really annoying.
The low ownership would make it tempting, but the price is what puts you off.
Yeah, I mean, if their fixtures are really good to start the season, then Nick Pope, as we've seen, is a BPS magnet and save point magnet. Like, you can throw him in at 5.5, but it's expensive. And then are you going
a lot of points,
Nick
Pope? 170 points for a goalkeeper.
That's
pretty good.
Oh, yeah, no, defensively, they can be solid. But I think if you go 5.5, you'd have to then just have a £4 million bench fodder. I don't think you can be rotating with 5.5.
I think you'd set and forget Pope if you are going to bring him in. And to be honest, he gets points when you least expect it.
No, I agree.
He's capable of getting 10 points against Liverpool, mainly down to saves. He's capable of that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, he got 15 clean sheets last season.
Exactly.
23 bonus points.
120 saves. It's
120 saves. You can't complain about that, can you? That's, it's a wait and see, but at 5.5, it puts me off a little bit.
Defense-wise, you got me at 5 mil.
You do, yeah. Or I guess it depends, but either Taylor or Peters, whichever one starts the season, Deitch seems to retain, his defence. Or he retains his squad, really. He doesn't really rotate unless either injuries or form prevail.
I think Taylor's a good option at 4.5. I think
he is.
He was cheaper last season, but he's still a good option at 4.5.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. And I see that they've bumped Long up to 4.5 million this season.
Yeah, no more 4 mil for him.
No more 4 mil. Midfield-wise, obviously, you got Dwight McNeil. There's some rumours going around about McNeil and potentially moving on this season, but it's 6 million. I guess it depends on where he is, really.
Yeah, I think we'd have to see what happens with the rumours from that one. And then up front, you've obviously got J-Rod and Chris Wood.
Yeah, Chris Wood is 6.5.
Yeah, I think
that's a good price.
Both of those are decent options, I think. Rodriguez and Wood. Obviously, is Ashley Barnes back from injury now, or is he?
I'd expect he probably is. He should be fit to start the season.
Because then it'd be interesting to see who plays. I don't know if they'd play all three. That might be a bit overkill, but
yeah, I think that you might be looking at rotation there.
Yeah,
or, the odd 60
it might
minutes
be a risk.
Yeah, the other.
So maybe stay away.
Yeah.
From those. On to Brighton.
Yeah, the mighty Matt Ryan. I think I had him for most of last season.
Yeah, he got you a fair amount of points.
He did, yeah. He got me a good amount of points to start the season, and then he kind of tailed off, and
You held him too long.
Yeah, I was far too stubborn, and I just held him, lost value, and then the likes of yourself jumped on Nick Pope and rose up the table. It's something I'm going to definitely look at this season. Is my goalkeeper options. And trying not to, have the odd set and forget goalkeeper, particularly, looking at fixture runs. And I know, the term form over fixtures, but I think with goalkeepers, fixtures has to come first.
Personally, with Brighton defenders, I'm not convinced.
No, Lamptey maybe, but again, he looked good when he played, but I don't think I touched Brighton defensively at the moment. No,
until we see them keep a string of clean sheets, I think I will stay away from their defence.
Yeah.
All right, now midfield. I rather interestingly going against the grain and actually am thinking about putting Lallana in my team. And I will tell you why. when he starts and hasn't had injuries, he's capable of goal seasons where he scores 9 goals a season, 9 assists in 2014. 2017, 8 goals, 7 assists. And at 6.5 million, he's going to, in Brighton's team, he's going to be starting. Obviously, Brighton aren't as good going forward as Liverpool or Saints. But I think he's a solid differential to consider. And he is either going to be in my team from game week 1 or I'm going to wait and see. The wiser decision may be wait and see, but I think he may be my outlier in my team, the one that's a bit different to everyone else's players.
See, my only issue with Lallana is, one, he's the most expensive midfielder in Brighton's squad now. Excuse me. And 2, you can get Traore for exactly the same price.
True. But
that's
it depends on Traore starting. If Traore is a starter, I will probably pick Traore over Lallana. However, he does like to get subbed by Nuno. He likes to, I think, rotate with, I think he pushes Doherty forward sometimes.
And obviously you've got the likes of, is Podence still around?
Yes, that's what I was looking for. So until I can see that Traore is starting consistently, because I owned him last season, and that kind of put me off. So we'll see on that one. But other than that, the only Brighton asset I'm considering is Lallana.
Yeah, I don't think I'd touch any of the others.
Yeah, I think he's a kind of one to keep an eye on. So up to Villa.
Yeah, let's look at Villa. Heaton at 4.5. I think that's an option.
Yeah, that's an option if you're doing the 2 keepers.
Yeah, Villa improved defensively at the end of last season. And obviously, if Tom Heaton's fit and gets that spot back, if he becomes the number 1 again, I think he's a very valuable FPL asset. One to watch.
Yeah, he's a good goalkeeper. We saw at Burnley how good a goalkeeper he is. So that is one to think about. Defensively, I mean, you could maybe go Mings.
Potentially, obviously, you've got the likes of Target at 4.5 if you want, a cheap way into a fullback option.
Yeah, and he may get the odd assist, or even a goal. I know Target does from time to time like to get quite far forward.
Yeah, he got a goal and 3 assists last season,
which is not to be sniffed at.
A Villa fullback. No,
yeah,
exactly.
especially at that price.
The issue is clean sheets. They only kept 5 last season.
Exactly. So we kind of need to see how they're going to be defensively. So
no, I agree.
One of those.
That's the problem.
Midfield.
You've got Grealish at 7. I'm still undecided on Jack Grealish.
He won't be going in my team.
No, pre-lockdown, brilliant player. But post-lockdown, when Villa were fighting, I didn't think he was that great.
No, he looked off it, off the pace.
And I mean, 8 goals and 7 assists. I guess you've got the Euros to consider, so he may well up his game to try and get to the Euros. But I don't think he'd be going in my squad. And then forward-wise, Wesley.
There's no options there, in my opinion.
No, I don't even think they're worth discussing, are they?
No, we'll move on to Gunners, Arsenal. So, Arsenal.
Leno at 5 million.
Yeah, Leno at 5 million.
That's very well priced. I like Arsenal, particularly now under Arteta, because he's looked to improve them defensively. And we noticed that towards the end of last season. And if Leno's fit, surely you'd expect him to then take the place of Martinez again. As good as Martinez was, I think Leno will become number 1. Yeah,
I think that's getting an Arsenal keeper at 5 million's decent. Obviously, they're not known for their clean sheets, so we'll have to see how that kind of goes, I guess, maybe.
You do have to say Martinez is probably in my opinion now, the best second goalkeeper in the Premier League.
Yeah, agreed. I was surprised how good he actually was when he came in.
Likewise, yeah. I mean, he was an absolute bargain to bring in.
Personally, the only defender I'm looking at Arsenal-wise would be Tierney. I think he would be a decent option.
I'm glad you
Even with
mentioned
his
it.
5.5 mil price tag, I think he's definitely one to watch. I think he's got assists and even potentially goals in him.
Yeah,
But
no. For me, Tierney's brilliant because I've followed him. Obviously, I follow Scottish football. Hearts are my team, but Tierney through Celtic was exceptional. And when he came to Arsenal, I thought he'd be a good option. And now Arteta's kind of drafted him through. And even towards the end of the season, didn't he pick up a goal and an assist in the second last game of the season?
yeah, he did. He
Yeah,
had a bit of a purple patch near the end of the season.
absolutely.
Definitely worth considering for this season. I think he may well be going in my team.
Yeah, no, wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise
The
me at all.
most important news of Arsenal is obviously Aubameyang being reclassified to a midfielder.
Now,
I think you've got to put him in, even though he's 12 million, 22 goals as a midfielder. This would be this season, based on last season's performance. You've got to have him in. Last season,
100%.
he scored 22 goals. His
It would have
position
been
in real life isn't changing. He's just being reclassified in the game. So,
exactly. As a midfielder, he would have scored 236 points last season, and that would have put him second behind De Bruyne.
there you go. Like, I think Aubameyang and KDB, I think, are the ones who've got to go in your team.
Yeah, I think Aubameyang and KDB are the first two names on my team sheet.
Yeah.
Obviously, Trent is a defensive option,
Trent.
but it's the two midfielder assets, Aubameyang and KDB. And then it's the decision of, do you squeeze in Salah, and you've spent £36 million on three midfielders?
Yeah, it's going to be hard. You either have two and a more balanced team, or you have three and a less balanced team with perhaps a weaker bench.
Yeah, there's going to be some interesting squads, I think. And obviously, looking at it, you've got Saka, 5.5 million, but he gets rotated. That's the problem.
If Pepe could hit form, 8 million would be a decent amount of money, but I think you're probably going to go Pulisic over Pepe.
Yeah, I think
in that price range,
you pay the extra $500,000 for Pulisic easily. And then the only two forwards,
Lacazette. Yeah, I think Lacazette's a decent price for, like, if you want a differential, but I guess we have to wait and see with his minutes, because obviously he plays most of the time, but he is known to get randomly benched.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how many minutes Nketiah gets, because he's priced similarly to Che Adams in that sense. And obviously, if you were looking for a very cheap third striker option, you've got Adams, Mitrovic, and Nketiah. If he's starting for Arsenal, you've got to go Nketiah, surely.
Yeah, I think for a budget option, if he starts with Arsenal, then it's worth a punt.
No, I fully agree. Completely agree.
Right, so that's a roundup of all the teams. That's flown by. That's over an hour and 20 minutes.
Wow, there we go. It's amazing how long you can talk. There's one thing I want to note just at the end of this before we sign off, is I did have a quick look through the rules of the game, and I noticed that they have amended the deadline. So deadlines are now going to be 90 minutes before kickoff rather than an hour before kickoff.
Oh, really?
So I think.
So that makes it even harder to get early team news, doesn't it?
I think it's to deter away from team news. This seems to be their thing.
I guess that for viewers and players abroad, that's a good thing, because obviously if you don't want to be getting up at 2 a.m. to
exactly.
News, but obviously for us Twitter addicts, not good news, because I think we get a decent advantage from team news.
We do, yeah. There's obviously that debate between, is the advantage there, and if it's there, people will use it. But the biggest issue for me was the fact that you get so many accounts then creating an account that week, trying to manipulate people into picking players and team leaks, when in fact, we all know that Rockstar and Scarface were the only two.
Yeah, the likes of FPL and Subscribe. Shout out to you dick.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think all of us blocked him before taking him seriously. So we saw one leak was absolute garbage. So yeah, he's blocked. But a lot of people did fall for that.
Oh yeah, I know they did. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, you know, like for the Jimenez, for instance, they took him out. And it wasn't great for the game." So I'm glad that at least they've tried to look at that. The funny thing is though, 90 minutes for all those people, including myself, that played Champman over lockdown. As Andy Martin, FPL tactician, rightly said, quoting my tweet, that 90 minutes is what they used for the Champman deadline. So it's quite funny that FPL have now gone that way.
Took a note out of their book by the looks of it.
Yeah, exactly. They certainly should have copyrighted it. But I think that's it's definitely food for thought. And I need to sit down properly and have a look at my squad and see just how much I can squeeze in for that £100 million.
Yeah, likewise. I think we're agreed on 3 players that we'll probably have on both our teams. That's Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kevin De Bruyne and Aubameyang. I think we're both going to have those 3 players. I think it's just moulding the rest of the team. The likes of Aguero, Salah, maybe Robertson are players you'd like to have in, but we'll see whether we can afford them.
So we've got £69.5 million left to spend.
Exactly, basically. Our budget's down already.
Agreed, yeah. So I think that probably brings an end to this first video and podcast for ourselves, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. It's been cracking fun. I'm definitely looking forward to carrying on this season, and I'm hoping that people listening and watching have enjoyed this. For us, obviously, it was an experience to just run through the game as and when, you know, kind of looking at Arsenal and Man United and Man City straight away as if we were watching it, you know, as we've seen. But I think for the next podcast and video, it might be interesting to give an insight on our previous seasons and a bit more insight into who we are. And what I'm proposing is I'll post on Twitter and get questions from the community, maybe trying to find out a little bit more about ourselves, the way we look at the game, and maybe what's inspired us to create a podcast. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. I'm more than happy to talk about last season. As mentioned earlier, best ever season, ranked 4K, gained 2 places due to the FPL drama, obviously. So I think I'm finished up 4.407. Loving life.
You had an incredible post lockdown, which we can touch on. It was, you know, at one point I thought I can look to catch you. I was only 20 points behind, and then you shot away.
Yeah, so we'll analyse that in the next video. We'll go through our transfers, our team, the key decisions we made, the key bad decisions we made. Yep. I hope you look forward to hearing it.
Agreed. Right. Well, I will see all you later. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye from us.
Cheers. Bye.